I'm also sympathetic to the idea that, I'm always kind of railing against the idea of any sort of utopian thinking. And, Michael Malice points this out a lot, that he says the utopian thinking is that a piece of paper written by some people, 250 years ago is actually going to protect people from tyranny. That's the utopian idea, from his point of view, which I'm sympathetic to that idea, because, what is a constitution other than a social contract that needs to be enforced by someone, and with power constantly changing hands. I mean, we've seen Barack Obama go against the Supreme Court. We've seen Biden go against the Supreme Court with the student loans, and then we've also seen Trump, flirting with defying the Supreme Court when it comes to some of these deportations. And also, by the way, I don't think, I'm putting money on it too. I'm making another bet, by the way. I don't think we're going to ever see any mass deportations. Not at all. Not even a little bit.
Well, now will that be because Trump doesn't have the will to do it, or he doesn't, or he's held up in the courts?
Yeah, I think he's going to get held up in the courts. I think some people are going to blame him for it, for not, for not just defying the orders, which I think, we've talked about that there's actually a good argument for him defying the orders of the Supreme Court or whoever else to get them out, because it kind of creates a self-referential danger where, if you don't enforce this law, if you don't actually get them out, then you might not have a country anymore. So how can the Constitution block a duly elected president who won the popular vote and all the swing states from enacting his, duly elected authority? I think we're just basically seeing a bunch of libtard activist judges that are usurping the power of duly elected president.
Yeah, this is where the term obstructionist came
Mm.
into play, because they're just roadblocks intended to stifle any type of actual movement by
Yeah,
Trump.
lawfare.
So, and the left is expert at this in terms of lawfare. They have such a head start in this field that sometimes it's hard to. I sometimes think that they're tempting Trump to just become the dictator that they've been prophesizing about for the last 10 years. Um, to where we told you he was going to become this guy. And I mean, I don't want to say that I want him to be a dictator, but whatever that means. But in terms of using Article 2 of the Constitution, that he is the sole sovereign, has the power to enact the will of the American people. At a certain point, that is the answer to this, because if not, what's going to happen is they're going to hold all this up in court. They're constantly just take it to another lower court, make the Supreme Court constantly rule on it, take it back. It's going to get to a point where we'll just wait this out for 4 years and then go right back to basically open border policies. And at that point, you're just going to continue to lose the country, whatever's left of it. So we're kind of at we've been at a crossing. We've crossed so many Rubicons over the last 10 years that if the Republicans and Trump are smart about it, they're going to have to do that, because what's going to happen is if the Dems get in 28, they're not going to give all this due process, all of this stuff. They don't care about it.
Yeah.
They're sophists. They have proven themselves to just use that when it's convenient. I mean, a lot of politicians do that on both sides, but the point is they don't give a shit about that. They just want to enact their agenda that is against most of the American people at this point. So,
What do you think the end is? Is it really just an electoral advantage? Is it the great replacement theory? Is it the globalists that are behind it? Is it a combination of all three?
Yeah, all of the above, in my opinion. I think I mean, if you bring in, like the CDC woman said, immigrants are more willing to take the vaccine, which was new to me. They don't have those values that some people can assimilate, but a lot of people don't. And the more multicultural you make a society, the easier it is to control because people can't easily collectivize and say we have shared values. We want to use this power to say no, we're not going to do this, you're wrong. But if you have 5, 6, 7, 10 different groups of people, you can easily just split them off, make them fight against each other. It's a globalist worldview. um, and so I mean, the goal, you see it in Europe. They don't want to have all these countries. They want to make extremely multicultural so they're easier to control. So you're not going to unify with, I mean, this is just a fact. You're not going to unify with people that don't share the same culture and values with you.
Yeah,
Like, it rarely happens, maybe in certain instances, but for the most part, it's unnatural, and they know that.
yeah,
So it's just a power play. The voting thing, that's part of it, but I think the bigger picture is just removing cultural national identity, just absorbing it into the global blob, and um, we're easier to control. And no, every place is every place now. You go to Canada, you walk into India, you walk into China, you walk into an Arabic
little
country.
little Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so you basically, the melting pot kind of dissolves everybody into a blob. And it's,
yeah, I agree. So preservation of culture, you know, is it? They seem to have demonized the preservation of culture. You know, you're a white nationalist, or you're a Christian nationalist, or some sort of nationalist, or a fascist or a racist or something. And whenever they do that, it's always kind of just a red flag and a giveaway that it's obviously for some more nefarious agenda.
Yeah, I think it's just the classic divide and conquer, like Adrian's saying, and it's one of those things where, like, everyone can be kind of grounded with the Constitution and live together pretty well, but then if you mix a ton of cultures in that don't respect the Constitution, then it gets pretty bad. I mean, like in every city, there's a Chinatown in every major city. There's like certain places for certain cultures to like prosper, but within that city and um, within our Constitution, it's worked for a while. But now, so much is flooding in from other like ideological kind of grounds that it's just dissolving the grounds of the Constitution.